want you to meet John Franklin. John is the executive director of IMAGO, a charitable organization whose vision is to promote and advocate for the arts in Canada. And IMAGO is hosting what's called The Crossings, a Journey to Easter exhibit. It depicts the stations of the cross, and John is here to tell us more about it. Hi, John. Welcome to 700 Club Canada.
Hello, Lori. Thank
Thanks.
you.
Well,
Pleased to be
thank you.
here.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. And I'm very excited about this exhibit myself. And as I said, IMAGO is a charity. It's an organization whose vision is to promote and advocate the arts in Canada. So, John, tell me, why are the arts important to culture and faith?
Well, one of the things that the arts are able to do is to speak to our affections, to move us, to generate response. And it is, I believe, the language of the culture as well. We listen to music, we go to film, we love drama and dance. And I think those who are within the Christian faith need to take seriously the arts as a medium through which they can tell the biblical narrative.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I love what you said there. I mean, really, art it is the language of the culture. And unfortunately, at least I feel that maybe the church has missed that. Do you agree with that?
I agree. I think we have, Lori, to put it in one way, is we've over intellectualized the faith sometimes. And one of the things we fear about art is that it takes on a life of its own. We tend, in our culture, we want to manage the world, and art is hard to manage. Somehow it speaks to us around our efforts to manage it. So we're a little uncomfortable with the arts.
Well, I think that's really perceptive. But the fact is, the art is from God. It's a gift from God. And Imago, I love the name of the organization because we're made in the image of God, and art is an
Right.
expression of who God is. So, what inspired you and Imago to host the Crossings, a Journey to Easter exhibit?
Well, Imago works at this intersection of faith, culture, and art. And when I heard about this series of exhibits that had been done, the first one in London in 2016, and then it went to Washington, D.C., then it went to New York, then it went to Amsterdam. When I heard about this, I thought this is the intersection of art, faith, and culture, exactly what I'm interested in engaging with. So I spoke to the folks, and they were very happy to see the possibility of having such an exhibition here in Toronto. And it's been quite a sojourn because of the pandemic. We've had to postpone a year, but it's all happening and it's all outdoors.
Well, that I'm excited. I plan on coming myself. It's in Toronto, so those watching who are in the Toronto area are planning on coming. The exhibit is scheduled for March 2nd to April 14th. So tell us what people can expect and how they can participate.
Yeah, well, what you'll expect is the opportunity to walk the stations. Of course, the stations of the cross, and I should underline here that we're doing the scriptural stations of the cross, not the traditional stations. The scriptural stations are a little bit different, and you can find those, I'm sure, online. But what to expect is the opportunity to walk from station to station and embody one's devotion, one's interest in the Jesus narrative. And you're going to see a wide variety of artistic expression. Some will be quite literal and some will be a little more abstract or symbolic. But in every case, I hope that they will speak to the heart of the people who walk the stations.
So tell us more about that. You say different expressions. Are we talking actors? Are we talking music?
No, no. I mean different expressions of visual art. I wish we
Okay.
could have done that. And again, the pandemic intruded. We had thought about the possibility of actors and musicians, but so when I say different expression, sculpture, some wood carving, perhaps, painting, quite a variety of paintings. They're not all the same. They're very, very different. There's an icon. Some who know the Eastern tradition of the church, the Orthodox tradition, are familiar with icons.
Mhm.
So the Gethsemane, the first station, is an icon. And we have added the triumphal entry and resurrection. And triumphal entry is a very interesting celebrative piece. And it actually has moving parts, although you can't move it when you look at it, but it does have moving parts.
Oh, it sounds intriguing to me, John. I can't wait. So, who is this for? Like, who would you encourage to attend? What is your hope for those who come?
Lori, it's a good question. Who is this for? It certainly is for the devotee, that is, the person who is serious about following Jesus. But this story, the Passion narrative, is a deeply human story, not just a religious story. It speaks to the issues of life: unjust judgment, betrayal, suffering, vulnerability. And undergirding those realities is a story of hope rooted in love. So it's for the person interested in art, the person who's on a spiritual journey, or it could be, of course, for the person who is a serious follower of Jesus.
I love that, John. I think you're right. Going back to your point about we've intellectualized our faith and we've lost the expression of storytelling. And I mean, we're storytellers even right here on 700 Club Canada because we believe in the power of testimony, of people's stories. But art is a way of telling stories. Quickly give me a little background on yourself. Obviously, this comes out of your own experience. What's your background in art?
Well, I'm not an artist, but for a number of years I was a professor of philosophy at Tyndale.
Wow.
But I then moved into this area of the arts. I've always had an appreciation for the arts, and the first reference in Scripture to people filled with the Spirit were artists, Bezalel and Oholiab, in Exodus 33 or 34, and I think art is somehow a manifestation of the presence and work of the Spirit in the world. And so I think art is hugely important for our culture and for our spiritual journey.
Wow, that's really powerful. I think you're right. I think whether it's music, whether it's the visual arts, it captures our imagination because really the story of God is far bigger than words can capture, correct?
For sure. Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Let me just say one thing about the story we tell. I think it's one of the most profound and influential stories in Western culture.
Yes.
It's one of the shaping stories of all of Western history. So it's not just for the Christian, but somehow it's had an impact far, far beyond the walls of the church in terms of its influence.
You're right. Well, thank you, John. Thank you for your leadership in this. Thank you for bringing it. And if you want to come, more information for Imago and the Crossing exhibition, go to 700club.ca and all the info's there. Thanks again, John.
Thank you, Laura.